for our template, we have these structural framing elevations kind of set up as part of our, I guess, workflow. And this is, a bit of a typical elevation. There's a few things going on here that, obviously make it look a little bit messy. I just want to walk you through our template for our framing elevation. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click our structural framing elevation here, and we're going to click OK, and it's going to apply largely a transparency to a lot of the walls, but I'm going to walk you through how we got there. So let's open this template. The first thing you'll probably notice is we did have a bunch of extra elevations, and we have a linked file in here. So I'm just going to turn off that linked file. Next, we're going to go into model, and I just want to show you we have our ceiling set to off, our curtain panels set to off. We have doors set to 100% transparent and halftone. And that'd be the same for windows. Floors have a solid white surface pattern and cut pattern, and the floors are set to 100% transparent. Again, this is really so we can see it, but it doesn't really affect our view. A lot of things turned off here. Roof's 100% transparent. Again, surface pattern, cut pattern set to solid white. Our walls are set to 60% transparency, and I guess ultimately that could be 100. We've got our cut patterns white, and do we have our surface patterns white? We don't have our surface pattern white, but that's fine. Windows, again, 100% transparent. And then let's go over here into filters. And so this is kind of where this gets a little bit complicated. So we use a ton of different filters, and we've set up our structural categories: primary, secondary, tertiary, other, plan bracing. And so we've had different colors applied to those beam types based on what they are. So red would be steel, purple would be beams. Any joists or rafters, we have a gray, so you can still see them within the framing plan, but they're not visible. Concrete, we have a concrete hatch applied with a background color. It doesn't look like that's being applied right now, so I'll have to look into what's happening with that. We have a plugin we used to use. We actually don't use it that much anymore, called MWF. And so we actually turn off a lot of those functionality pieces and indicators. We have a ridge cap, and so we actually search by a specific type to turn off that ridge cap. We hide our wall sections because we don't show our wall sections in our elevation views. We only show those in floor plans, and we have different types of sections and based on what we're doing. So we have those filters kind of set up to do that. So that's kind of a bit of an overview. We do have some stuff turned off in annotations. We are actually changing our perspective on door and window tags. We actually want to have those on. It's good to be able to tag those elements so the contractor or the steel fabricator or the framer, for that matter, can see that stuff. Let me see if we have anything else on that's important. No, doesn't look like it. So yeah, that's how we set up our framing plans. And the last part of this is a bit of cleanup. So first thing we want to do is we want to cut our building, and this building itself has a bunch of steps to it. So what we might end up doing is, and let me just draw with a pen here, is we might end up having one framing plan for this portion, framing elevation, one for this portion, and one for this portion, and really just splitting this view into three because we have different depths of that structure, and we don't want to confuse that elevation with those depths. So let me just clear this. Exit drawing. There we go. So the first thing we want to do in order to see what's going on here a little bit more clearly is we want to adjust our clipping. So we're going to turn on clip without line, and we're going to turn on clipping to be about 150 feet, and that's just based on where our elevation tag is. So let's go to 160, and we start to see something, 170, and so we start to see that. So we've got some windows there. Let's go to 190, because I know that's 20 feet basically to the building. And so, you know, that might work. It kind of gets us that whole elevation. And now we want to hide some stuff that's maybe not relevant in our view, or maybe stuff that's too far. So this is a photo that we have on the wall, so let's hide that. I think everything else is fine. So again, this just gives the contractor the ability to see all the lintels and stuff. This wall is a little bit further into the drawing, so I'm going to hide that wall. But we could also pull back our view clip a little bit. So like we did 190, let's go 185. Let's see, that was too far, maybe 187. So I think actually this wall is over that wall, so maybe we just have to physically hide it. We have that's our roof there, our ridge cap is hidden. We have our skylight there. So again, I just, I'll selectively, here's a piece of cabinetry, we'll hide that. We could turn off cabinetry, but I think that is actually modeled as a generic model, and if we turn off generic model, it will hide other things we don't want to hide, so we'll leave that on. This looks like it's at the wrong height, so let's bring that down to top of wall. And there's another one there, let's bring that down to top of wall. And ultimately this one should be top of wall as well. Now we can see that beam there. It looks like we've got something going on with these not showing as, let's maybe call these secondary, or yeah, let's call these secondary. Let's see if that looks to show purple. There we go. So yeah, that's generally how we set up our views. So it's applying the view template, making sure stuff is shown properly, and then adjusting the far clip so that you can just see that one plane. I worked on another elevation over here, and so we're doing a diagram for this corner, this cantilevered corner in this project. So I was setting this up for the engineer so he can see what's going on and understand what we're trying to achieve. So that's how to set up framing elevations, and those are kind of some of the settings we use.